And a very good evening to all of you once again. Welcome to the Shadow Gallery. I am, as always, your host, James Donnelly. And even though I missed it last week, I'm here to tell you, from my heart to yours, it's time for new comics, bitches! I know you've been waiting for that, so... this was a very big week. I'm not going to go into too much of last week's releases, even though some of them were really good. I'm going to kind of just go through this week's stuff. Now, since I'm attempting to monetize my YouTube account, I have essentially been informed that I'm forbidden from showing you any artwork. So I will no longer actually be showing you the covers or any interior art because I don't own that property, and therefore if I try and monetize this, I don't even know how the hell that works, but it was given to me as an option, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But look, just it being said, I won't be showing you any more actual pages of anything. So you'll just have to use your imaginations, or go from memory. Fuck. Anyway, so let's kick it off. Okay, so this was a big week for Captain America. We got not one, not two, but 3 different Captain America titles in one week, and that's pretty much what we're going to start with here. So we have notes. This is all I'm going by right now. So we have Captain America number 5, which is pretty much the finale to the Codename Bravo story arc, and the story arc for Jimmy Jupiter, in which Cap has been kind of brought into this dreamland, this dream world of Jimmy Jupiter's, and may not have a way out if Queen Hydra has her way, because she threatens to kill Jimmy before Cap can get himself out. So now, Codename Bravo has distinguished himself as a pretty damn good villain, but not quite so much as Queen Hydra has. She's a very good villain, and she's pretty badass, and I like her as a villain. Obviously, I wouldn't want her to be my friend, but she's a very good villain and a good foil for Cap. And this is again where Brubaker shows his skills with his supporting players. Is that Cap doesn't really take too much of the center stage in this particular issue. It's much more about Sam Wilson, the Falcon, and Nick Fury and Sharon Carter doing what they can to get Cap out of this, of the dream world that he's in. Now, the moment between Jimmy and Sharon, after Jimmy's essentially been mortally wounded, is a really beautiful moment. It's one of those things that really speaks to how well Brubaker can tell a tale, by just giving us that one part where it's true emotion, and not having it be sappy or not having it feel artificial, but it's really very real and touching, and it moved me, quite honestly, and that's what really made this book work very well. Also, I like the fact that Queen Hydra is in league with Baron Zemo, and that their kind of end game to attack Cap's idea of his patriotism is something that is very smart about what they want to do. I mean, because once you take away that idea of God and country from Cap, or just country, that's something that is that can ruin him, that will destroy his effectiveness as a Sentinel of Liberty. So going after that is ultimately his weakest spot, because he knows that things have not always been on the up and up in government. Obviously, back in the 70s, or depending upon how far we decide to go back, he resigned from being Cap for a while and became Nomad. The only thing that was really that didn't work for me about this issue is the kind of the switching of the art. Was a little disorienting, because we had Steve McNiven's great art in certain pages, and then you had the other artist. I don't recall his name, unfortunately. It's not something I wrote down, but that was that was sometimes a little too disorienting, and I didn't really care for that. But they're striving to get it out on time, and so I can understand it. I don't necessarily forgive it, but I understand it. But still, definitely a good story, definitely a good tale. I would give this a 4 out of 5, easy. So bringing us right to Captain America #6, that also came out this week. So that was nice. And what's even nicer in this issue is we get Alan Davis providing the artwork. Alan Davis is one of those artists that I haven't seen too much of his work for a while, and I've missed it. It's one of those things where you don't really realize how much you miss something until it's gone. Now, Alan, did the premiere work as far as Captain Britain is concerned, and he's also done some stellar work on various other projects over the years. But to me, he's always been the guy that kind of really brought Captain Britain to the forefront, other than people like Alan Moore and Jamie Delano and Chris Claremont. So just seeing his artwork is great. Now, again, we go back to this relationship between Queen Hydra and Baron Zemo, and how very, very interesting it is, because they have this kind of interplay that suggests, well, one is maybe a subordinate of the other. They're not quite equals, and one always thinks that they've kind of got the upper hand on the other, or they're just acting the subordinate to ultimately make a power play, because that's how villains associate with one another. But we've got a lot more than that going on in this issue. We've got, because of what had happened in the previous issue with Cap's kind of depowering in the dream world, that this, we now have, Hawkeye, who I love, has kind of come by to essentially snap Cap out of it and say, let's just hit the streets, man. Let's go do what we were made to do. Let's go make the streets safe for regular people. And of course they do, and it seems like this is just going to be a simple type of thing for them, but of course we've got mad bombs, and mad bombs are fun. They're great MacGuffins. I love them. So I mean, of course chaos breaks out, and all of a sudden we have a visit from the Serpent Society, which are part of Cap's Rogues Gallery that I've always enjoyed. And they're just and then of course the shock at the ending there, where Cap actually is depowered. We've got a major situation on our hands here. This is really good stuff. I mean, this is what Captain America and Bucky is. Essentially, Captain America, this particular title, is more of, Cap and Bucky is much more of a realistic tale being told. And we have the more kind of fantastical edges of Cap's world in the Solo series. And at first, I didn't really know if it would work or not. I was a little uncertain. But now I'm feeling very confident about Brubaker's handle on this situation, is that Cap doesn't always have to be kind of grim and gritty as we saw him when Brubaker first started with Cap, but he can also be kind of not fun per se, but a kind of freewheeling adventurer sometimes, and that things can kind of go on the back burner in favor of telling a more comic book oriented tale. So, and that's, to me, that's a good thing. I do enjoy that a lot, and it really worked for me. Now, so we'll go to Captain America and Bucky, number 625. Now, we have one of my very favorite artists, Francesco Francavilla, coming on board as the series artist, at least for a time. And I hope that he will stay on for a very, 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 very long time, even though I know that's not going to happen. But we also have not Brubaker writing the scripts, and it's no longer Mark Andreyko being the... again, another 4 out of 5 for Captain America number 6. But we have... Mark Andreyko has left the book, and we have James Asmus, who I have no idea who that is. I shouldn't say that. I've heard the name, but I have no idea what he's done prior to this. But what they're doing essentially here is they've crafted a really, really interesting story on the successors of Cap and Bucky when Cap and Bucky were presumed dead. It basically gives us a look into William Naslund, the former Spirit of 76, who became Cap after, again, the presumed death. And we have Fred, something like that. I don't know, Fred? I gotta find it. Damn it. I knew I was unprepared. Sorry, I feel bad about that. Sorry. Stay with me for just a second. I promise you. I'll be right back. Yeah, Fred Davis Jr. Sorry, that was Fred. Who becomes the new Bucky, the young blonde Bucky. And it talks of androids and essentially assassination attempts at which our Steve Rogers Cap is there now as Fred is kind of delivering this speech to the VA, and suddenly we have this assassination attempt by the Atom 2 android, the one that actually the same version that killed Bill Naslund back in the 40s. And so now we have a deeper mystery to go into, and of course we have Steve with his his kind of hard light holographic shield and everything like that, which I think is really cool. I do really enjoy that piece of technology. And we have this mystery surrounding, well, why exactly did this attack take place? What does this have to do with William Naslund? And we have William Naslund's grandson, William Naslund III, who wants to tag along. He is he's a drone pilot, and he wants to help with the investigation. And of course, we have Jim Hammond. We have the original Human Torch has also come. So part of the invaders are coming along to figure out exactly what is going on, and we have this ending moment, which is pretty shocking. And we're not quite sure what to make of it. That's more of the shock of it. So there seems to be a little bit of mystery and perhaps some suspicion as far as the young Naslund is concerned. But we have it's James Asmus doing the script and Brubaker just doing the story. The dude does a really solid job here, and of course Francavilla's art is just absolutely gorgeous. It is so wonderful and cinematic, but it's down to earth, and that's what Francesco is so good at. So that's again another solid 4 out of 5 for me. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with a lot more comics. So stay tuned.